going to call the meeting to order. It's Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. This is the work session of Greenburgh Central School District. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And as everyone knows, we have our new superintendent that was sworn in July. But we are going to do the swearing in ceremony now. Dr. Leonard Ditchin, will you please stand? And our clerk is going to read the oath of office.
All right, Dr. Chisholm, do you solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of New York, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of Superintendent of Schools for the Greenburgh Central School District?
I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chisholm. And with that, I'm going to ask you to please introduce any new hires that are here this evening.
We have 3 lovely new hires to the district. They were here for our new teacher orientation and got to visit the schools. And so I will have them each stand to introduce themselves, your location, and what your subject area is.
I'm going first. Okay, awesome. Hi, I'm Robin Capizzuto. I am at RJ Bailey. I am a new 4th grade teacher teaching special ed, so I travel with the same class. This is my 14th year teaching, and I'm really happy to be at Greenburgh. Everybody's been really supportive and really collaborative, and I already love my team. Great, take care of you.
My name is Valbona Osmani. I also work at RJ Bailey. I am teaching 5th grade ELA and social studies. This is my 10th year teaching. I'm really excited. I was just saying my 2 groups of students, they were awesome. And I also have supportive teachers. And I'm really excited for the opportunity, and thank you.
Hi, my name is Gianna Straza. I am a part of Woodlands Middle and High School. I am actually a phys ed and health educator. Throughout the past 2 weeks, they couldn't have said it better myself. The team has been so supportive. The community is fantastic, and I'm really, really excited to just see my students soar.
All right. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay, nice to meet you guys. Thank you. Okay, next. Yes? Does anybody want to say anything? No? Okay. Next on our agenda is a discussion of the Code of Conduct and Character. I'm going to add. Everyone should have a copy.
Here, we have the chair.
Yes.
I know Trustee Long has her copy.
You want a copy, I
Would you
know.
guys share?
I don't have a copy. I know you have a copy. I don't. Okay.
And on page 2, you need to have the assistant superintendent for business's name in there.
Alrighty, I don't know. Hold on. Yeah, let's get one conversation at a time. I know y'all are out of control sometimes. Dr. Chisholm, Trustee Warner made a observation that we need our assistant superintendent of business. You said page 2?
Yes.
Okay, to be updated. So I guess that might come up in more than one place, maybe any of the assistant superintendent for business items. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Of course, we've had an update to the cell phone, internet use policy, right? Yes.
I'm not going to go through all of my list, but I did send a list
I think
of
she shared.
observations.
Go ahead.
It may be helpful just to kind of point them out to the other trustees though. If,
All right.
Because I don't anticipate us debating them all, if I may propose, just so they're pointed
This
out
is a
and
discussion.
highlighted on
This is
people who-
for,
All right, I can certainly do that. I'm going to start at the bottom of my list because it happens to be the front of my packet, which is the All of the policies that we note in the Code of Conduct, I listed out a bunch of policies that aren't noted that I believe key into the Code of Conduct, and it was 7311, 6470, 7312, 7412, 3210. Oh, no, wait, here, this is, I gotta remember.
When did you send this email?
This email,
Thank you.
oh, okay, I was gonna say it's at the top here. Oh, so I think what I was saying is there might be a board policy reference page in the back of the Code of Conduct, is what I was suggesting. Because we talked about policies throughout the entire code, but we don't have one page that lists all of the codes that
that's a
are
great idea.
noted.
So add the policies to the
Like a-
appendix.
Yeah, kind of an
Like a
appendix
summary.
page of all the policies. And I did list out all of them. I can forward this email again. I did
But she
list all
has
of them that I found, but.
I'd like to piggyback on Trustee Along's comment, and as we've been reviewing policies, there are some, as we review them, that I know should be having a cross-reference and don't, so I'm trying to add those in as we go, so having that appendix will make that also easier to
Easier.
update.
I did note a bunch that I thought should be
Yes.
also.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
So, all right, you guys asked for it.
well, your first time that I see is page 31, does anyone have
Page
anything?
31,
to
that's
say?
correct.
What? No, she's going, it's her.
Yep, page 31. There's a note of Saturday school as a discipline, and I wasn't aware we had such a thing, so that was my question.
Can you please cite the page one more time?
Page 31.
I believe we had that at one time, so I don't know, just for the new admin. I don't know if
It's
it's
in the
there,
bullets.
in case that is resurrected. Just for a note.
It's in the bullets. of
So
those.
do we, my question is, do we remove that if that is ever, this is just an option, it's not limited to? So is that something we want to remove?
Oh, I don't know. All of the rest seemed like things we might use. I wondered about the Saturday school jumped out to me.
I'm
It
gonna,
did.
Yeah.
if I could just also say, Saturday school is also referenced on page 13, so if we're gonna talk about it one place, let's talk about the other.
I don't know that we need to talk about all of them.
No,
but
just so
yeah,
people know
yeah,
the issues.
Yeah.
I can share the email too.
Yep. Then page 32, the, in the procedures section, the second and third paragraph, do you have one, Carol?
No, it's like reviews.
Here.
We're looking at this right
Okay. So this section is about procedures, and it is linked into disciplinary procedures, penalties, and referrals. The paragraph 2, 3, and the bulleted section below that all are specifically about suspension. And since we actually have a suspension section, I wondered why we were so explicit on that as a procedure there. It seemed like it was
32.
kind of a negative thing to start off. And right in the procedures. Yeah.
I feel like you pointed this out like
Yeah.
2 years ago. Not starting off negatively and starting with restorative stuff. I think that was when we kind of, like maybe 3 years ago now? It was a while ago. Oh, 2 years ago.
Yeah. But there's definitely like a lack of restorative justice being integrated, and that was something we talked about a lot, was that it was like, it was mentioned and defined, but never integrated as part of our procedure and the way we actually do business. It seemed more lip service-y.
So, okay.
Then page 35, so again, suspension, so page 33 is suspension. page 34 is teacher disciplinary referral. Then we get to suspension again on page 35 and 37. However, the short-term 5 days or less suspension from school. Oh, no, wait. Up to the second bullet at the top of the page, the second bullet. That bullet is confusing to me, and I wasn't quite
What page
sure.
are you on?
Page 35.
Oh, okay. Any student 14 or 15 years, any student 14 or 15 years old who qualifies for juvenile offender, that's one?
Yes, that's the one.
Status under the criminal procedure law, the student, the superintendent, is required to refer students 16 and older or any student 14 or 15 who qualifies for juvenile offender status to the appropriate law enforcement authorities. To refer the following students to the county attorney for a juvenile delinquency proceeding before family court.
So what's the question?
I don't get what that bullet,
So if a student,
Means, what is
well,
its
let's read it.
intent?
So any student who's found to have a weapon, who's 16, you're supposed to refer them to the proper authorities.
You have to look at the sentence above that, to this part.
so it's not
Proceeding
individual
before-
bullets.
To
they're
the county
connected.
attorney for
Yeah.
juvenile delinquency proceeding before the family court, these particular
Situations.
situations.
Yeah.
For that second bullet, it differs if they're 16 or over. And I'm assuming this follows some sort of state law.
And I do believe, outside of this, when I'm looking at the suspension piece, there's now some rules around no suspensions beyond like 20 days. So it does need some revisions
Updated.
and updating. So if we can, I know I have your list. I don't know if everybody's seen your list, Julie, but I'm sure they did.
Just
in the
for you.
packet, to kind of go through those
Yeah,
pieces.
just to kind of,
This is Chris.
and my first comment on all of this, I'll bring it up because now you guys are all new, was that does our code of conduct need to be 107 pages long?
Some late reading.
To me, it's like, it's, I wouldn't have all these
Defeats the
bullets if
purpose.
it was only
I'm reading it.
15 pages long. But,
It defeats the purpose of folks reading it.
yeah, it does, it's like a business, when you get you wanna bring your kids to some outdoor adventure park or whatever, and you have to sign this thing that says, I'm responsible for everything, and you are responsible for nothing. It's kind of the same thing.
But if
and
something
it
happens,
rubs me the
just
wrong
look at
way,
you,
but, yeah. But anyway.
So how much of it is required
How much is
versus
required? Yeah, could we say it more succinctly, more positively, and, I don't know, but.
Can we jump to the disciplinary chart section, because we did ask them to integrate a more graphical section, page 55, 57. 55 is the youngest learners. And that was incorporated, but I do know there are some questions and suggestions, because it's also just seems to be, if I'm summarizing your comments appropriately, Trustee Long, sometimes it's just kind of copy-paste instead of a thoughtful progression.
Yes. This is where we talked about progressive discipline, and I don't see it in the charts. It more seems like it's just copy-paste, and, yeah, and there's no progression.
And the thing about the charts, just to the point they were just making, is parents are going to look at that, because it's easier to read than all of the text and copy-paste of the policies themselves. So this will be probably the most referenced section of the Code of Conduct. So I think this warrants definitely a closer look if we have to pick and choose, which we shouldn't, but.
Then, one specific thing about this is the difference from school building to school building. And I know there's age differences, but the language even changes in the charts. And this is one of the biggest complaints of families, is how it feels like you've gone to a new planet when you go to a new building. And you shouldn't feel that foreign when we're in the same district.
And we only change every 2 years,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
every 3 years,
yep.
but
So, and the language changes between the schools also, so a little more consistency of language between the schools.
I think it is fair, though, to expect secondary to be fairly drastically different, because it is secondary, but with elementary, I would agree. Trustee Valen?
I'm just gonna check on one other comment. I think we also need to ensure that the code of conduct document language and charts are aligned with what's actually either in the welcome packet or given at a back to school night or whatever. I know there used to be documents signed at the building level, so whatever is being distributed at the building should obviously align with what's being said about the building here.
So just to update our student EO member, we're talking about the code of conduct. And right now, we're talking about the disciplinary restorative practice chart in the code of conduct. Do we have one that she can see? Actually, I'll give her mine. Page 50 something.
Yeah, we're 55, 56, 57.
Oh, you're gonna share yours, Julie?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Just something that came into my mind, as we're talking about the different schools. Also making it digestible for our staff to make sure it's consistent from what's on the paper to what's from the principal to what's with the teacher. Just as a comment, I had a high school student client who was accused of using AI, and when we looked up their school's code of conduct, which was different than what the teacher's code of conduct was, which was different than what, like, everything was different. And so trying to even find clear indication of what the rules were was really hard, which caused a lot of anxiety in the student because they were being told one thing, mom was freaking out about another thing, and there was not a lot of consistency. And when I tried to assist, that also showed up that there was no consistency. And so I think making, to Trustee Long's point, making it digestible for everyone so that it can be easily implemented and consistent would be super helpful, because I think otherwise the wiggle room is not good for anyone.
So I have a specific example on the restorative aspect versus, or progressive aspect, and let me find a good page. Page 60 and 61, there's another example also, where it's first offense, second offense, third offense, and it's all blocked as one thing. So it's the same response for first, second, and third. And that, to me, is
For
not
like the
progressive.
alcohol, you mean?
Yeah.
So with substance use, I don't know if Carol wants to chime in, I'm sure Dr. Chisholm would agree. I think it automatically is a certain level of offense, right, with substance use?
It can be.
Okay.
So it's not a regulation or an education law,
Mhm.
but you can decide as a district that there is a minimum number of days for alcohol or drugs.
Well, it sounds like the minimum is parent notification, 5 days out of school, referral, superintendent hearing, referral to police, which I do know of an alcohol incident, years ago, that all these things happened. The police, I don't think happened.
That's not required.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
just that's where you have some flexibility.
But isn't there laws around even like smoking on school campus, and that's being a violation that's considered like
Smoking.
paraphernalia, smoking, drugs, or alcohol?
Certain drugs, are certain drugs different than others, or any drugs on campus? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Any drugs that are not prescribed with
Right.
medical documentation.
Right.
Cannot be
You
on
do have to
campus.
call the police.
No, not necessarily. It depends.
Okay.
There's flexibility there for the superintendent in terms of what the story is. Is a student on campus selling drugs? You would call the police if that were the case.
Well, we had a student with 22 vape pens, and the police were not called. I specifically remember that.
There's discretion
That's a lot of vape pens.
for the
If
superintendent.
it's considered for distribution. So there's a
Yeah.
difference with sale, distribution, quantity, those type of things. And I'm
Well,
just
that's
thinking
what the police
legally.
would want to get involved with.
Right.
They likely, if a student comes in and they have, a container that contains vodka and orange juice,
they don't
We've
want to
had
be
that.
called for that.
Yeah, we've had that.
You'd call the parent, you would follow your suspension procedures, but you wouldn't call the police.
Right, right.
Which I'm sure happens quite often in high schools.
Yeah. So here's my point, though. If that's the case, as an example, and it falls into one of these where first, second, and third offense are all the same response, to me, that doesn't make sense. So if there's a second offense of a little cocktail in the water bottle, to me, that demands a different response. It can't be just the
No, I hear
same
what you're saying.
options for 1, 2, and 3.
So maybe that's when the police are,
But it's not by offense, by severity of the offense.
Or is the way that this is written, the idea that this is your menu of choices of
But it
how
still
to
says
address
first, second,
it?
and third are the same.
So,
Correct.
so with the
So
first,
more of
if
these
you
things.
have a greater quantity with the first offense, you may get police called on you. So they have to put that in under first, and if it's a lighter quantity, but it's your third offense, maybe then they call the police, I don't know.
It
So I
just,
guess they have to have
it
all three.
was counterintuitive to the idea of progressive discipline, which we talked about over and over again. So that was, to me, if you are using a spreadsheet and you block out all the cells and make them all the same, it's not, there's no progression there.
Mhm.
So that's,
Well, we
So-
can't mandate treatment, so it's not like, what would it be a progression of?
you got it? Well, I don't know. I'm not,
But I know we're bringing this back to, like, a committee to kind of
Review,
reconvene this and
yeah.
review it, so.
We're gonna need students on it.
Yes, you will, yes.
all right, so, like I said, everything doesn't have to be fixed tonight. It was just observation.
I cannot promise you that it will be tonight.
It's all right. I'm quite okay with that. The, page 63, harassment. Why does harassment get defined as sexual harassment
Versus,
versus
Someone
harass? I mean, to me,
stalking
it's a
someone.
much greater.
So that's the section that we'll review.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in this case, it's just mentioning it that specifically that one, but then it says all forms of harassment, so I think it's just.
so maybe it should be
adding that in.
reversed, if it's flipped
Yes,
maybe,
it's
all
kind of
forms of
looking
harassment are
different.
subject to these penalties, and then an asterisk, specifically sexual harassment
Right.
is separate.
There's more to harassment than, and it leads one, especially because some people don't read old words.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Especially when there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
What is headgear as a conduct? That's the next one.
There's a dress code section, so
Yeah.
shouldn't that belong under the dress code violation?
What is headgear?
It's like
So-
a hat.
But
Does
it doesn't
it
say
have
that.
to
So
be?
it's the hats, do-rags, bonnets, sometimes the ski masks.
Yeah. Isn't that dress code? Why is it?
That seems like a weird thing to come after
Heck,
harassment and
harassment.
extortion.
Well, no, let's
They're
talk
not
this,
in
let's
alphabetical
talk this through.
It
So
looks
for-
like it's just in alphabetical order.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so all of these things, so yes, it's addressed in the dress code, but it has to have the progressive discipline, because when you get caught with headgear, you get a discipline.
Right, my point was, there's a dress code, there's a section for dress code violations.
So
within
should
the
we
chart,
put
so should that
headgear
not be-
under including headgear? So
Yeah.
dress code violation including headgear as opposed to its own separate?
Isn't it all the same strategies?
That's what I was just gonna check.
Pretty much, looks like it. Other than confiscation, because you're not gonna confiscate.
So you're not gonna
Clothing.
confiscate the hoodie, but you could confiscate
The
the hat.
headgear.
But that seems to be the only, like, difference is the confiscation aspect, but like, I think just like all these things are options, confiscation would be an option.
There's more, well, when you look at column 3, there's a lot more delineation between the different offenses.
Right,
Is there a section?
but that would still be under dress code.
Right. It seems, if we're not gonna separate harassment and sexual harassment, why are we separating headgear from the rest of your?
Well, I would think it would be that there was a time when that was the main offense that was being policed.
If that's our
We don't
main
need to
offense, I think that's.
police
Okay, guys, we're gonna move forward. Do you have more?
I have more, Yes, I do. Page 65, late to class. That was curious to me, that late to class, first, second, and third offense, it's all rolled, it's all one. I mean, a
Is that
repeat
just a
is,
place to, like, have reference? Excuse me, in case you wanna know what happens if you're late to class, and it's just there for you? No?
I don't know. It seems to me if this is the chart to go, if I'm late to class once, this is what happens. If I'm late to class twice.
That's the second offense.
It is a
Yeah,
cut.
there's a
Then
second
it's a cut,
offense.
yeah, then
It's
it's
like there
considered
should
a
be.
class
Yeah.
cutting.
Let's just go back to cutting class.
So once would be what, a warning? What happens if you're late to class?
If you're late to class, they mark you tardy once. The second time, like you said, is a cut. And then I think third time is suspension.
Okay, so then.
That's why we need students on the
Yeah, they already know, they already know this. Now, is this only, this is only, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I don't think trustee Long was done with that, because you had a suggestion on
Did I have a
why is there
suggestion?
no notification of parents?
Oh, yeah, oh, why is there no parent notification? Yes.
For lateness?
Thank you. If there's a third offense.
It's listed under restorative
There is.
strategies, but I do hear what you're saying, so we do have that noted as well to discuss and
That's
review.
leaving here.
No, not every time, just like
Like the one
wrap
third,
them up.
yeah.
If you wrap them up.
Would
Then
seem
you
to
get
be that would
absences.
be, yes. If my kid cut class up to 3 offenses, I want to know that.
You wanna know why that class? What's going on?
But parents also have a responsibility to check the parent app. What is it called? Parent portal, yes.
Yeah, which
tells
has
you.
about 25 different colors, 22 of which look the same.
We need to diversify our color palette.
Okay, let's keep going.
Uh,
Do you have more?
I do.
Okay.
Page 67, vandalism and theft.
Yeah.
It lists restitution, and let me find where it is.
Restitution for damages.
Oh, yeah, in the first offense, restitution for damages.
Uh-huh.
And I was curious about this because we had this conversation.
We did, 2023.
We did, about
Carol.
damages to the school and how we couldn't force
We
restitution.
couldn't force restitution. No, I think we could force restitution. We couldn't force
Yes.
cleaning the
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
Because we wanted to make
Because
them.
it's considered capital punishment.
Yeah.
But you can't force them to clean.
We
Can
could
you
have
give
forced them
them
to
the
pay.
choice?
No.
So restitution.
That you can pay
The
for that work
parent
to
can
be done,
choose,
or
you
you
told
can
us
do
the
it?
parent can choose to have them do work somehow, something like that, but we couldn't have that listed as like our sanction.
Well, that's correct, but if a student wants to voluntarily clean and do that, they certainly could.
Right, right.
Yeah.
But the charging, we can charge?
Yes, it's in the education law.
Well, we said we're gonna charge the Chromebooks if they bring the
What, I
Chromebooks,
just, the
right?
restitution, for me, that is a bigger word than charging,
Uh-huh.
so that was, it was just curious because we had such a big debate about
Yeah.
that. That was.
And restitution can look different ways,
Yeah,
so that could be a
Right.
case-by-case basis.
all right, fair enough.
I also feel like it's weird that those are combined.
What's
Yeah,
combined?
yeah. first-
Vandalism and
yeah.
theft, those are very different
Yes,
actions.
that's true too.
It is true.
Not that I'm looking for more, Rose, but those are very different things.
Well, but if I'm a parent, and if it is alphabetical order, which is not, because we're cramming a bunch of things into the
Yes.
And a couple of them are
conduct column.
duplicative,
Hmm?
some are duplicative,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
so it becomes confusing.
Yeah. Shelley has
So,
one more item.
I have one more item.
okay.
We asked on page 111 that the staff sign this.
The staff,
Yes.
how are we supposed to get staff to sign
That's the question.
it? Yeah,
No, code of
I,
conduct is supposed to apply to everyone on campus.
It is.
Public and,
however.
So that was my question. We asked staff to sign this. However, when I read the whole thing, and I did read all of it, all 111 pages, there's very little noted throughout the code of conduct regarding staff conduct. It always refers to students and people that are visitors, but there's no staff. So that to me is a gap. We ask them to sign something that doesn't say anything to them directly, so.
Can we say anything to them directly, Carol?
Well, this can be revised to say, you know, as applicable, you know, you
Are we
can
gonna
add a
run into
word.
CBA difficulty?
Have they seen this?
What's active?
So I would also recommend, because it's titled Student Code of Conduct, so that I'm already like hoping that we could retitle this anyways, the Code of Character, Conduct, and Support. But if we do something like that, then it will be more inclusive, and then take the word student out.
For support?
So the district is required to have a student code of, to have a code of conduct
That's
for
separate from
students?
staff.
For students specifically.
It's not
So-
required to, for staff. We're just adding staff.
Correct.
Got
But
it.
it has to say students
So-
versus like
You know,
community
in
code
order
of
to
conduct?
be able to show that you have a code of conduct for students, you could say for students, staff, and community, and for visitors to school, so I would include
That's a good idea.
everyone instead of taking out students.
Oh, so that it's titled, if legally
More
required, that the
comprehensive.
title says this and
Correct.
there's an explicit connection. Got it.
Yes.
Code of
Because you want the staff to acknowledge
conduct for,
that these are the
students,
penalties
staff,
used
and
with
visitors.
students, so that everyone, as you said, is on the same page. But where it goes a little awry is where it says, abide by its rules or face the penalties as described in the code. Those
Yeah,
penalties don't
those
apply to them.
staff is not gonna
And,
agree to that.
and you can't penalize a teacher without going through, you know, the process. So
Right.
that should be, this page needs to be revised.
And I'm just,
Trustee Valen.
she's-
He's rule abiding.
I believe, listen, I'm not the expert here, but I believe.
What
Yes,
policy?
we need it, no, I don't have it in front of me, but I believe some of our policies with regard to personnel, for example, sexual harassment in the workplace, do make reference to the district's code of conduct, the district's code of conduct.
Of
So,
harassment,
although
for example.
we need it for students and not necessarily for staff, there are policies that keep for staff, that keep referring to the district's code of conduct. So I don't know,
You have, one of your policies is a code of conduct, a general code of conduct.
which basically says you will have a code of conduct.
Yes,
So it all just cycles through.
Yeah.
I got it.
And it is, of course, yeah, it's very.
I mean, this is
basic.
very student-centered and focused.
So,
Does it have visitors in here? I don't remember.
Yes.
we're gonna be wrapping up because we do have a governance and policy committee where they will talk this to death. Is there anything else? Yes, Trustee
We're not-
Valen?
We can't wrap it up yet. There's a couple more things to say while
Okay.
Ms. Melnick looks at that.
And Ms. Melnick's
This wasn't
welcome
what
to
I
come
meant.
to our policy. Why is it attached?
Okay, so,
This is a
so
student
just
one.
for everyone,
Somehow.
first, I'm just going to note that we did open, because we are being filmed, we did open a public hearing to review the code of conduct on July 23rd.
Yeah.
That code of conduct will remain open for at least one more month. Yes?
Yes.
Public input is welcome. They should email board@greenburghcsd.org. It's supposed to be reviewed annually. We're trying to do a better job of reviewing it annually, but the big news was the distraction-free, no-cell, bell-to-bell, which specific policy was updated during the summer. That was policy 7316. That is referenced on page 12 of this draft new code of conduct, and that's where you see the redlining that was done so far, because I'm anticipating more redlining. And as that new redlining happens, I anticipate new drafts being shared out so that the public can comment on the current version before we close the public hearing. So I believe we already had built into the code of conduct, what kind of are the FAQs, if your child has a phone in the building and it's confiscated, et cetera. So this just kind of added the language about phones. My anecdotal stories from administrators are here at the high school, which would be in my liaison report, is they only had to confiscate 4 phones to date, which is excellent in a building of 700-ish people, so yay, team. But I don't know if there's any language about the new policy that we need to tighten up in the code of conduct. Obviously, in the disciplinary chart, we want to make sure it's listed appropriately, that it doesn't result in suspension for being the only infraction. But I just wanted to remind the other trustees here that that's really the main change here, and to see if our student had any comments before we close the conversation.
Yeah. So I actually do have some comments, and it's about our computers. A lot of the students, well, I know at least one, but a lot have been also going up to Ms. Mwanga.
What about the phones?
Huh? Oh, about the phones.
Right, yeah. You'll have your report in a little bit, but.
Yeah, we wanted
So
to
about
just give the report
phones
later,
or-
but do you have any comments, observations, questions about the new cell phone, no cell bell to bell, and internet usage? I guess iPads, watches.
I don't know if there's anything you guys can really do about it, but when we have free periods, even though we are supposed to be doing work, a lot of the times, school just started, so we don't have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
So that's just free time doing nothing. I personally don't have a lot of frees with my friends, so I'm just sitting there, no work, no anything, and I can't use my phone. And that's just unengaging. Like, it's one of the things that's making kids not want to be at school really, because you're just here in a building.
No, okay.
I was gonna say, so you were in the senior meeting. Were you in the meeting with the seniors, the senior class meeting?
Yes.
Okay, so I did also share too that I was looking for students to sign up to be a part of the procedure, the committee to draft procedures for what that looks like. Just because of what you've said, some of the things or conversations I've had with the building leadership is, how do we do things like in lunch, we should have Jenga, something that kids can do to socialize as opposed to feeling like they're bored. So things like that have been suggested to the building administration, but your feedback is certainly needed and warranted.
And free periods, do they have, I don't want to call it old-fashioned study hall, but do they have a place where the kids go?
Not that.
Or they just roam the hallway? I mean, I'm sure they have.
The library.
Okay.
Sometimes there's just a whole bunch of kids around. There's Miss Longa's room. She usually has her door open for kids who just want a space to be free or quiet. And then that's really it.
Right. Okay, so maybe in a year or two, we could have some, well, it's a library, so you can't talk as much, but maybe there could be some quieter games like the chessboard, checkers board, stuff that
Yeah,
they can do.
absolutely.
Quiet, huh?
Puzzles.
Puzzles, yeah. Okay, thank you. Yes.
I also think there's gonna be an adjustment period, right?
Yes.
There is so much research showing how, because of phones, and I'm absolutely guilty of this too, like you stop trying these other strategies to engage with people because you're so used to engaging in this one way.
Right.
And so when you then don't have that way, it's really hard to start again. And if you've never had those skills, you can't recover those skills. You have to learn them at the outright. And I don't know if there's also input from some of the clubs that do some more of that outreach work, like Key Club or stuff like that, that maybe have these different ideas about the way kids are coming together. Because I think games are definitely a good start because I think it helps break the ice, but I think some of it is just going to be the relearning or the learning for the first time of those skills, because it's like a dying art.
I'm wondering how can staff help? I mean, security staff are trained to do security, for example, but do we also have monitors that are not security that can engage kids, or maybe we don't have that too?
Monitors that are not secure.
Yeah, I went here many, many months ago, but we had like bathroom monitors, we had like hallway monitors, but they weren't called security staff.
So I'm sure that they engage kids, but they probably have their assignments too.
To do their
So that's
patrol,
why I'm
yeah.
trying to think of those spaces, those shared common spaces
Yeah.
outside of the traditional classroom where we can find activities for students
Mm-hmm.
to do things. And even if it is, I don't want to have an activity, but I have a safe space with a teacher, that
Right,
you're
with
going
someone that's
somewhere
class,
and you're
yeah.
safe somewhere, so. But it is a work in progress.
Yeah,
I've
of
heard very
course, yeah.
positive things from districts who have already been doing it
Uh-huh.
in terms of what they found, but it is a little growing pain in the beginning. A little bit, yes.
How to be bored too, that's like,
Well, like you go to a restaurant and if someone's sitting by themselves, they're absolutely on their phone. Or the doctor's, like everyone, if they're by themselves, they're on a phone.
yeah, adults,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
These are guests.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you for that.
I'm gonna close this discussion.
I
Okay,
do
go
have-
ahead, Tristan.
Sorry, I do have a question. So if we're leaving the public hearing open for, let's call it another month plus, I hear you saying that you're looking for people to join a committee. Can you, besides the public who might watch this, giving us input into what they see or hear, are there other things being organized as far as seeking student or public input? Can you give more information to the board in the packet this coming Friday?
Sure.
So we know what's planned? Okay, thank you.
Trustee Sepulayo,
Yes,
do you have anything you wanna add?
no, I've been listening and adding, and you might have just said something to Dr. Chisholm about an error, missing word.
Okay, all right. Hold on, I just realized I usually have this open. Okay, so I'm going to move on from this topic. And the next item, where am I? Code of conduct, policy review. Next item on our agenda is policy review. And I'm going to turn the meeting over to my Vice President, Christine Vallon, who loves policy.
Okay, so these are policies which were reviewed in committees last year, so now are being put to the board for review before we present them to the public at the regular meeting in September. So let's just run down the line. 5511, fund balance, GASB 54, was reviewed in the Finance Committee last year. As you can see, we reviewed it but made no suggestions, which is why there's nothing in red. Our Assistant Superintendent for Business at the time did confirm that these account numbers were accurate, and I have nothing more to say on that.
So, I just want to update our ex officio members. So we, as trustees, we are stewards, responsible stewards of all the tax dollars in the district. So because of that, we have, an assistant superintendent of business, we have a treasurer, who have to be different people to avoid any fraud, right? We ask them a ton of questions, they love it. And we have policies around how to observe and maintain that money. So that's what part of this fund balance is.
Seeing no trustees raise their hand, next policy was 5512, reserve funds. As you can see, we reviewed the policy, there are no red lines, so nothing was changed. As part of the policy review, we also then got an update on reserve funds, but that's a separate report that was made to the board and is available on the website for anyone who's interested, and we'll be looking for an update this fall. Anything about the policy? Nope, go on next. 5413, alternative formats for instructional materials. Now, these next few policies were reviewed in the Education Committee in June. So you'll see a few things added in red. There were conversations about operational issues, but operational issues usually don't get embedded into policy. So any comments, questions, suggestions from the trustees on 5413? Seeing none, we'll move on. 8260, Title I Parent and Family Engagement. Now these policies are also up for annual review, so we will review them yet again this spring. The little mark after classroom was either the removal or addition of a comma. I think the addition of a comma. Couple other redlined items there.
So do we, yeah, sorry.
I'm done. Unless you-
So I feel like this was done really, really well before I got on the board. It's not my fault. But where we had these Title I meetings that were like publicized and people could come and there was big signups. Are we still doing these?
We are supposed to be doing them, so during the administrators retreat, we kind of refreshed everyone to the
Okay.
expectations, so each year is going to get them
Okay,
with templates.
sounds good.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, please.
Translation services should probably say interpretation.
Where's the page? Sorry.
On page-
I see it.
Policy hold on.
I see it.
Okay.
Third page, B.
Third page B. So it says translation services. Translations usually means written work. Interpretation is also more inclusive. It doesn't have to be, a foreign language. It can also be sign language or ASL.
Should it say interpretation and translation, or just interpretation? Does that cover everything?
I would put both, because if you have materials that are being disseminated in the meeting, they should be translated.
Well, wait a minute. Okay, trustee Jacobson.
Just kind of along those lines, I've actually gotten some questions about whether there will be interpretations at back to school night, because they're supposed to be, according to this, made available at meetings, and I didn't know if that is something that we have plans for.
I did get that email. I did tell them let me look into that. I don't know if we have there's probably some services that we could be engaging in, not just for,
We have language line.
we have language line, but you're looking for people to be there for
And we
everything.
have staff approved in each building.
We
Okay.
do have staff approved,
Okay.
but I think
And
of buildings.
technology.
But we don't have interpretation services, or do we?
Well, language line is, but it is a service that we have to reach out to. I don't know if things have been arranged to have services provided.
Like each
at these
classroom
events.
having the option to call in.
And in the technology committee, we discussed also having the Google translation services available.
Correct, but for back to school night, that wouldn't.
It would have to
Be
be in
what
each
happens.
room.
It'd be them listening to their phone while it's being.
So I think just some, if we're gonna say it as policy, we're making them available at things, then I think
It has to
finding
be.
a way to do that consistently and put that information out there, to say that that's what is available, whatever that might look like.
I know at Woodlands Middle High School, the principal and assistant principal usually
Tag team.
tag
Mhm.
team,
Mhm.
so it's English and Spanish, English
Yep,
and
yep.
Spanish. But I have not seen that at the elementary schools.
No, I've seen it for PTA presentations.
PTA, I've seen
But
it,
not
but-
admin. But since we say that we're doing it.
Yeah.
But also to your point, if a classroom teacher is doing a presentation,
Right, how would a
How would a person
parent
get around?
follow?
Right.
How would they follow what's
And I'm
being
also
said?
thinking back to school nights, you have multiple teachers
You do.
doing multiple
Oh, for sure.
presentations.
You do.
So that's
That's
why
what
I'm
I'm
also
saying,
thinking
every
about, we
classroom.
might have a person in a building assigned to doing it, but is it I hate to say it, is it a service that we can?
And I keep pointing to trustee Jacobson, because she's the chair of the technology committee, so I
I'm
might
not
remember
mindful.
incorrectly, but we discussed in technology, I believe,
Correct.
where the person could, the technology director was showing how they could use Google and
And
basically
open.
have it open
Have
and
the
listen, and then they're
presentation.
reading the
Okay.
transcription,
It translates.
the
Right.
interpretation.
That's assuming that the
Um,
person is
parents aren't
literate in
But
their
it's-
language.
But it's a matter of
Correct.
communicating
That's
what
it.
technology
With-
showed our
with the-
committee to
yeah.
the building to
Yeah.
actually use.
And part of language line is that you should be able to call, there should be documentation in each office of how to access that service, so that if you're having a parent meeting as an admin, you can call that and have someone be that service provider from a language line hub, and we pay for that service
But
already.
how does that differ by classroom? And then does the parent pre-register their language?
We would have to.
Not in language line, if they're going to like a parent meeting, I don't know how to do
No,
that.
I'm
on
talking about back to
broad-
school
yeah, I don't know
night,
how
for
to do that
example.
like
You will
that.
have more than just Spanish.
Correct.
And you may
Mhm.
have ASL, you may have different,
Mhm.
okay, sorry.
I saw a presentation last October at the NISBA event, and it was an AI that got installed on cell phones and connected to a speaker. And literally the speaker the AI became a third person in the conversation where the AI, Joseph or whatever, I'm here speaking with so-and-so, what language do you speak? And that person said what language they spoke. I need you to translate the things I say and that we converse about. So maybe it was a rather amazing thing to watch happen, was these two people, and they picked a person out of the audience that was unknown. That person spoke the language, their native language, and the other person spoke English, but it was on the phone and just an AI, so
It's
there's.
possible.
Yeah.
It is, and there, I know some PTs have tried it too with Zoom, because Zoom has an option too, but found that there were sometimes some very unfortunate mistranslations that were borderline inappropriate, and so it stopped being used because, and now this was a couple years ago and tech has gotten much better, but there was definitely some times that people were like native speakers were like, that's a problem. So I don't know.
Okay, so
This
I
was
think,
before AI has kind of taken off, so there is probably way better choices and options now.
so I
But I know that that's coming up.
Okay. So what I was gonna say is maybe one of the things that we can do is when people are planning their activities, right, there should also be a request, because what I'm thinking about is just what you just mentioned. We might have some hard of hearing or people from the deaf community, and that's not always the best way, and closed caption does not always do the best work with translating that too. So that's why I was saying that in terms of like a service, the language piece, the language line, that's translation of tongue languages. So I do want to differentiate between what I was saying for those two pieces. But I do think it's important that as buildings are hosting and doing these pieces, that there's a way that we're making the request to the tech department of our needs. Some buildings or teachers may not need it, and others may have a greater need than others. So I just want to make sure that maybe that's something we can look at in terms of process for school activities, district-wide school activities.
okay,
So going back to the policy, we're just gonna add the word translation and interpretation services. That section. Ms. Kaneda and I are noting it down, okay? Next is policy, so then there's the compact or contract 8260A, which, again, I don't know about the actual operational usage of this compact. I guess that's for our admin to find out, but we did make a suggestion as to the wording change if this is being used at the buildings. Any comments, questions, suggestions from trustees on that? Seeing none, we move on to the last one. Yep.
Does this belong in the code of conduct / character /
I'll defer that.
So I think this is, I don't think so. No, it's just it's a school school parent partnership. I don't see this as a code of conduct, character support.
or a packet that this is the lead to? I don't know, it just seems like they would go hand in hand.
This,
maybe,
this parent compact is tied to the Title I. So it's tied to, it's one of the requirements to have the parent compact.
It's
And
one of
isn't
those,
that parent
it's one of those
engagement?
Yes.
items
Parent
got a dot.
engagement.
Yeah, it's like parent, yes.
Right, yes, it's tied to the parent engagement.
All right,
I
next,
can get
last one is policy 8261, Title I, PCEN, programs and services. And we made one change on the second page, which was basically changing PCEN stands for pupils with compensatory educational needs. The explanation of that was wrong in the initial version, so we just fixed that. Seeing no comments, questions, suggestions, that's the last of the policies for board review. Like I said, they'll be presented to the public at the next meeting, left open for a month, and then we'll adopt any final version on the October regular meeting. Thank you.
yay. Okay, next, any more questions, comments, concerns about policy? We're gonna move on to the next agenda item, discussion. board goals. You will find you have draft number 2 of your board goals. You guys laughing at me? Draft number 2 of your board goals here. This has been a struggle, guys. We had tons of special meetings and we are still moving forward. It was a suggestion from one trustee to go with the shorter goal that was there. I did not hear from any other trustees. Yes?
I'll back up the short one.
Okay.
That's funny, because mine was B, 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 B.
Okay.
I like all the long ones.
Okay.
I'm wishy-washy.
Okay.
If I go with the long ones, I want to change them slightly. If we go with the
Okay.
short ones,
why they've
I'm
taken
okay
over.
with it.
Yes, this is why we can't get to, okay, trustee Warner and trustee Jacobson, what do you guys feel about the goals?
Short.
That's 3 for short.
I think I'm inclined to go short
Okay,
and
great,
then
short.
use that as something to review whether we did or didn't meet our goals because we didn't have enough information.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yes. So we have the goals, so. Okay, so now we kind of need to flesh them out a little bit. The longer ones do give us things to pull from in objectives on how we're going to reach our goals. So we can all work on those unless you guys want to do that now. I can read them out loud, but I do think we need to at least, at the very least, post them on the district website. Do you have access? Yeah, okay. On the district website under the board section, and then flesh out how we're gonna do our objectives to meet each goal. Anyone? Want to add anything else?
Not
No?
this
You guys are over goals right now? Okay. We can keep going. I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna call on each person and let them read a goal. There'll be 5 of you. Trustee Valen, you can start with goal number 1, student success.
Student success, the goal is twice per year, the Greenburgh Central School District Board of Education will review student growth data and progress reports provided by the superintendent to ensure measurable academic growth for all students across the district.
Okay. Trustee Jacobson, please read our safe and healthy climate goal.
Safe and healthy climate goal is by June 2026, the Greenburgh Central School District Board of Education will create and support avenues for student feedback, including the participation of ex officio student board members and opportunities for student voice at public board meetings.
Okay. Trustee Warner, can you please read our infrastructure? This was not set up, by the way. I
By
was gonna
June 2026, the Greenburgh Central School District Board of Education will conduct monthly reviews of the district's 5-year facilities plan, including the project priority list and the status of active projects to ensure alignment with district goals and timeliness.
I'm sure ex officio member might have something to say about the facilities and construction that's been going on. Trustee Valen.
I just want to clarify, is the last word, it could be either, is the last word timeliness or timelines?
Oh. Huh. Including the project priority list and
Should be
status of
timelines.
active
It could be
projects to
either,
ensure
though.
alignment with district goals and timelines. I think it's supposed to be timelines. Huh? Yeah.
If
of the
we
We'll
goals.
review the
put a hyphen in
timelines,
there.
Of the
yeah, I
goals,
was
yeah.
gonna say, if we review the timelines, we will know the timeliness.
Okay, trustee Long, do you want to read our 4th goal of communications?
By June 2026, the Greenburgh Central School District Board of Education will improve two-way communication across the community by expanding outreach efforts to include non-attending residents through off-site CEC district/district meetings and the development and promotion of e-blasts to increase stakeholder engagement.
That's a pretty hefty goal. I don't know, other than CEC, how we're going to do that, but trustee Jacobson,
I think just if we're going to post this somewhere, CEC should be spelled out.
Right.
I would agree.
May I just ask for clarification
Uh-huh.
of how do you define non-attending residents?
Residents
I think I
without
know,
students.
but I just
Yeah.
wanted to.
So like
Residents without students.
yes, so residents without students or with students that attend private parochial school.
Without students at Greenburgh
At
Central.
yeah,
Right.
right. Without students and or without students
To
attending.
include residents without students attending GCSD schools.
Right.
No, that's still gonna, to me, that would read, when I'm a little simple sometimes, that would read, it must be parents that don't attend.
I agree.
I would say without students, so non-parents. Or, or,
If I don't have a student
They're
attending,
diverse.
that could be
Residents
a
without
childless
community
person,
members.
or it
Yeah.
could be
Right.
a person who's considered
Retired
elsewhere.
and
yeah, but I
children
would,
are- yeah.
I would think that would mean parents. of-
Without household members enrolled in the district.
Okay, we can, let's work on that. And then what about premier workforce? That's you, trustee Sambalaya?
Yes. By June 2026, the Greenburgh Central School District Board of Education will oversee, review, and monitor the hiring and retention processes to ensure fairness and transparency. The board will ensure that the superintendent develops and effectively implements staff evaluation protocols that promote staff effectiveness and student achievement, while also monitoring the evaluation and tenure processes to ensure that all staff receive timely feedback to support the professional growth.
Anyone?
Many uses of the word effectively.
A lot of it.
Need some word shrinking, some thesaurusing.
Okay, so we'll do the draft, you want to do draft 3, trustee Jacobson?
Not particularly.
Okay.
Where do you see multiple effectives?
So she, I didn't notice it till it was read out
Effectively,
loud. and you can hear it.
effectiveness.
Yeah, change effectiveness to efficacy.
Just take it out. Superintendent develops and
And
implements
implements.
staff evaluation protocols
Yeah,
that
there we go.
promote effectiveness.
Trustee Alon edited it.
Or staff efficacy? Instead of
You
effectiveness?
can leave that one in, just
I
take
think
the other one out.
effectiveness
Yeah.
Works better. All righty. Draft 3 coming soon. To an email near you. Okay, next we have discussion, Woodlands Middle High School Science Lab designs. So, board, everyone received some science lab designs. To our ex officio member. They're redoing the science labs now that you're graduating, so, here. It will
You
start.
can come visit.
You can come visit, right? It'll start next year. Some trustees, huh?
I sort of return and teach.
Or return and teach. Do you want to share
It's
the
a
drawings?
bad drawing.
Bad drawings? Does
You
anyone
can
have
see
any
them, but I
drawings they
did,
can share?
was
she has
gonna
nice
say,
ones. Yeah, she's on her.
Yeah.
So now it's, yes?
I have a question. It goes back to the infrastructure and also redoing stuff. I heard that they were redoing auditorium in the middle of the year.
Yeah, let's talk about that. So, there is a facilities committee meeting coming up on Thursday, and we're gonna be looking at that and when those dates are gonna start. But did you have some concern, did you have a question about it, concern?
I do. How will that affect the students? Like, where will we have assemblies and performances and all of that going on?
Right. I think we need to look at that.
And we are, we've had some preliminary conversations between the director of facilities and with your building principal to determine alternate locations for things like that. It is certainly a displacement when you have fall events, and we are aware of that. So we will work to minimize as much disruption as possible to regular programming for you all.
Is there a way to do the construction, Dr. Chisholm, at the end of, like, after the holidays, like the end of December, over through to January or June?
Well, I think we need to talk to Dennis and with the folks that are doing that work.
Because they have 2 weeks off this year, right? Yeah.
For December, but the work is gonna take more than 2 weeks.
Oh,
not gonna
okay.
take-
How long
I
did it
also
take?
have a concern about how long it takes, because as you've seen with the front door. We didn't have the front door for the whole school year last year.
I got here and the doors got open, I'm just kidding.
That's not.
It's not due to me, it's not due to me.
And also, it was the roads, it was the roof.
There's a lot of
everything
things
else.
going on, and I do know that, you know, so, but I promise you, I'm not looking for that to take forever.
So,
That's right.
So is there a timeline for the auditorium as far as?
We have meetings scheduled
Next
for
week?
Thursday, we have a couple different meetings,
Okay.
so.
Okay.
Those will be updated, those will continue to be updated and shared with the board.
You have something to say about the science labs?
No, this is about, I do,
The auditorium?
but this is about the auditorium.
Okay.
The Peer Tech stuff, just so we're clear, there is a timeline on here.
Correct, but it has not been adhered to.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
So we are following up, we're trying to get in touch with them to get them locked in.
All right.
Yes.
Then the second question is, technically, this packet is engineered submittals. So in theory, they have submitted this to the customer, which is us, and we're supposed to review that and approve it. So,
What's the date on that, Ms.?
July 25th. My next question is since BBS is not part of this project, do we have someone that knows what they're looking at with the submittals and understands it? 'Cause I know what this says. I would have no idea if that's the right thing for our auditorium. So
Oh, I see.
just thinking of me, it's,
I-
yes, do we have someone?
So we have to meet, we're
Okay.
meeting Thursday.
Got it.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Oh, that's right. Oh, sorry. So, I'm sorry, what was the answer on who do we have? I didn't hear that part.
Right, because I think some of the original paperwork was signed by a teacher. And so I'm trying to go back and find all the original paperwork and look at the original timelines. And we're trying to work with, we as in the Director of Facilities and all of us together, trying to narrow down exactly when this work is starting with the company. And also the contract for some of those things that were submitted,
Yeah.
because things should not be being signed by teachers.
Or anyone other than
That's correct.
the superintendent.
And in theory, they won't do any work without a signature. So if they're doing work,
Well, is it a theory, or maybe it needs to be clear, if anybody shows up to do some work?
has there?
They've come, I know of one time they've come on campus to look at the auditorium, to assess, and think about the start date. I wasn't part of that meeting because I didn't know that they were coming on that day. So I'm getting the information after the fact, which is why we still need to sit down and have the meeting with people before I can give a concrete answer.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, so we're probably gonna discuss further in executive session with specific people and names and.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Science labs. Is there anything else about the auditorium? Because that was not on the agenda, but we did end up talking about it. Science labs? Anyone?
I'll start with a general thing.
Sure.
I understand, okay, I tried to print this out, I couldn't do it, so I did try to visit the rooms beforehand, but because I didn't have a good printout, because it was a big thing and I couldn't shrink it down, because at the end of the day, I have a general question, but I agree with a lot of the other questions that have come up. My general question is, I understand we're gonna start first year on the east side.
East side.
And the east side is the side near the tennis courts,
Yes.
correct? So my general concern is when we're doing the tear out of the old, or of walls or stuff, just with the roofing project, I remember stuff coming over the roof over to the side of the building. Now
And
we
debris in
have,
the air and everything.
now we're gonna be tearing out 2 floors of that wing. over there. We have limited space over there. We have new tennis courts. We have a road down a hill that I can't imagine a big dumpster going down. I'm just concerned about the logistics for the removal process, which I know isn't part of the design, but because we're also looking at the secret tonight, I'd just like to know if there's been a conversation about that, because I think that needs to be included as part of the planning process, and if it is going to be impacts, I would rather know about them now rather than during the removal.
I have not had, me personally specifically, conversations about the logistics of the removal. I've had 2 meetings with the team that's doing the science classrooms, and that was around what the design would look like and what the scope of the measurements of spaces. And then the type of materials that they were going to be using, like how they're going to set it up with the teacher's space. And that is as far as we've gotten, or as far as I've gotten with the team that is doing the science classrooms. So the logistics with disposal of items, we haven't gotten to.
Okay, and then I'm going to piggyback on a couple of her questions.
Did those meetings include the construction manager?
It did. It included Ms. Barbera, who is one of the
construction manager.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Because that would be the person in charge of making sure that happens.
things don't get messed up.
Yeah.
And did you have more questions, Trustee Long? Because she wants to piggyback off of whatever you're asking.
Well, you know, I can kind of sum my questions. There's a couple of questions, but I can kind of sum them up. I know that there was a science teacher team that was part of this process in the beginning. Was there a science teacher team that was part of the review of the drawings? And did they kind of know what they were looking at if they were part of it?
So in the meeting that I was in when I met the team, including Ms. Barbera, the science teacher was not here because it was also the summertime. But they were part of the design of the printouts to kind of think about the shapes of the furniture, how the furniture would be configured for the spacing that would be conducive, the hoods, where the hood should be placed. So those science teachers were part of that team.
My thought is that it might be beneficial to, not just at the front end, have the ideas, but to have, to round that corner now that there's drawings and sit down and say, is this kind of what you visualize? Because sometimes what people say and what they see are disconnected, and this is very concrete, so. A couple of specific things that I noted, the drawings do not note the gas lines. So that's an omission on my part. And I don't know if that means gas lines are in all of the rooms or if they're not in any of the rooms.
Okay, I'll find that out.
You need to cross-reference the previous project that got merged into this project.
Well, but if the architects are involved in both projects,
They
have the means to
the
do
drawing
that,
should
and it should be
include,
here.
yes, the drawing should include the gas lines. We should be referencing previous projects. I noted that safe storage, there is safe storage up on the 3rd floor for the physics and chemistry rooms, but there was no safe storage on the 2nd floor. And I didn't know if that was needed or not, but it was just, it seemed, and the same with eyewash stations. There's no eyewash stations on the 2nd floor.
So I'll double check that. I know I specifically asked about eyewash spaces, primarily for like chemistry because of what the students will be using. And I think that's why you'll find the safe space things for storage of those type of materials. But I can confirm that, but in my conversations with the team, that's what I gleaned from it.
I saw it was up there, but I thought, well, is it missing from the bottom intentionally, or is it an oversight?
Can I piggyback on that one? Because I think that's the space where I questioned, you explained to me, because you had the better drawings printed out, where some walls look like they're getting knocked down, and when I look at the walls, they are these cinder block walls, Trustee Long is saying, well, the architects know if this is a load-bearing wall or not, and I'm saying, well, it seems to be right surrounding the elevator. I really
Oh,
hope,
jeez.
The walls surrounding the elevator are
That's true.
still
So-
there in the drawing.
true, so we're looking at a different cinder block wall, but you know me.
Well, not only do we- not
What I
only
want to
do we
be
know
sure
you.
is that I do understand that the BBS has been on site at least one time per the building principal. So I just want to be sure they had eyes on these walls when they were making drawings to say that they are not going to be here anymore.
Not only do we know Trustee Allen, and you're asking questions, we've also believe and feel like in many ways, the district has been burned at times. You know, no one expected for the field, for example, to be where it is right now. I know, because I asked questions of the facilities committee and was told that I was being a little extra about homecoming, yet the field looks like it's gonna be wiped out for even longer, right? So, there's nothing wrong with you sharing your concern, because you know, we need to ask, are people considering this thing? Are they gonna start the construction and create a larger problem with the structural setup of the building? Because we can't just trust that they're gonna do it properly, because they didn't do, you know, the tennis courts were configured the wrong direction. All of these things were not necessarily mistakes, but overlooked. And we don't know, we're not these experts to ask the questions, so of course you're gonna express concern about it. I think that's fine.
So when we meet with the BBS team every Thursday. In that meeting, Ms. Barbera will be there. We'll follow up with them regarding the science classrooms, as well as the logistics for disposal of items.
Can I ask too, this is gonna be, construction is gonna be done in the summer of 2026?
And the other side for the summer 2027.
Yep.
And in the summer of 2020, so are there gonna be children in the building somewhere?
If we run a summer intensive or anything like that, we probably would, and if we do, we just wouldn't have them assigned to that side of the building.
So is it gonna be similar to when we do, it's my only reference, asbestos removal, where there's like sheets up and.
Put the cinder block walls
What?
down.
What?
I'm interrupting to agree
Oh,
with you.
okay. No, but I'm saying like the safety precautions for, you know, when they do the asbestos removal, they have all of these things, and why are they gonna
Hazmat
do the
type
same
things.
type of? Okay, Trustee Jacobson.
To piggyback on Julie's original comment about the teachers coming in to view the specs on the drawings, the thing that stuck out to me, because this is not my wheelhouse at all, but because it's listing specific classrooms as teaching specific courses, just thinking about how, because we have a small population, sometimes certain classes are offered, sometimes they're not, making sure that spaces aren't so rigid in their structure that they can't flex, and that they would have what other classrooms might need. So I would be very curious for the teachers to come in and look and be like, okay, this is what this room is assigned to. Is that appropriate for what they need? And making sure that if, for whatever reason, like if chemistry is not taught, can we still use that space appropriately? So we're not super limited or not able to use space accordingly.
And just to answer that, you know, I can't speak to the room utilization at this point, right? But one of the things that you'll see is the flexible seating and the desks that can be arranged, put in group settings, and then individual. The other thing about that too is while we may not run chemistry, we may run another science, and that classroom can be applied or utilized in that case. So I think those are, you know, they're good questions, but I would hope that that would make sense to do.
That's why I would like the teachers to look too, because most of them have been here long enough to know.
My observations of the drawings are that they've been designed for flexibility, so it's just a name.
Okay.
When I look at, yeah, it's designed for flexibility, it's just a name, except for the gas lines.
Right.
Yeah, just-
Right,
Yes.
and
Right.
one of
The
the
other-
things, and I will follow up on that, but what I asked about was specifically why the east versus west and not by floor, right? And that's because of tubing, the waters, so we don't want to disrupt both sides. If we're gonna do one side and have to do anything with any walls, we're gonna do it on one side of the building at that time, close it up, and then work that second half of the building, so things going up and down, even electrical wiring, those type things.
Yeah, they talked about that, and they'll thoroughly talk about these things in the facilities committee as well. Even though the facilities committee only makes recommendations to the board, but they thoroughly hit all of those topics, yes.
I want to mention something, if you can store it in your mind somewhere. One of the conversations we had with the construction manager in the interviews is the fact that we're doing this over 2 summers. There is, the way the materials are purchased, they're purchased as a whole.
Right.
So managing the desks that go on the west side needs to be something that happens with the construction manager. We don't want furniture for the west side for a year later.
We gotta put it in storage somewhere.
Wait,
He said.
the winning group.
Yes, talked
Okay,
about
talked
blanket
about
purchase
ordering
orders.
it at one time, therefore you get the efficiency of a large order, but taking delivery on the second half
Yes.
at a later time.
But they told us that, I want to
Yeah.
make sure.
But who's holding it for a year before
The
it's delivered?
manufacturer, they have a choice of storing it or
So they're not
manufacturing
gonna
it.
create a different model?
No, it's called a blanket order, and
Okay.
they would, when they place the order, they'll place an order for all of it, but they'll release only what they need
Some of
at the
it,
time.
okay.
And the manufacturer agrees to that timeline upfront, so, yes.
Okay.
But you guys needed to
You
know
guys
that.
have to enforce that from.
Yeah.
And can I just, I don't know if you have more. Thursday, you said you meet with BVS on all of their things.
On all the things.
Because it is a different construction manager on this project.
Yes.
Not,
Who's the construction
Okay,
manager
that's
on this one?
It's
not
Palumbo.
Karen Barrera.
Okay. She was in that last meeting though with us.
For
The
this?
Science labs?
She's not on that project, that company's. We can talk about this in executive if necessary, I don't know.
Ah.
But we approved a different group
Palumbo,
for the
yes.
science lab project.
Well, she was
Is
probably
there-
there to help
Construction
explain
manager,
it, but she
right.
was there.
Is there a way
Not
to invite
a front
Palumbo?
end.
I don't know I don't know the content of their Thursday meeting. I'm making sure you guys know.
Have the
so
right
people
construction
are at the
manager.
meeting,
Right.
if you're discussing the science labs.
Okay.
Because they're two different
If
construction
you're only
managers.
talking about
Yeah.
with BBS about BBS stuff and not, which I can't see why you'd separate the construction managers out of that conversation, but, okay, dropped. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know, Trustee Long had more.
No, I just make sure the science teachers, it seems logical to me that there is the front end was done, that we make sure that the back end is walked through and have someone explain if they don't know what architectural drawings are, if they're not able to read them, that someone walks through and says, this is where this is gonna be, and now, there was one more thing. The smart boards moved to the side. So, in this one, the hallway is right here, and you go in the classroom this way. The teacher sits right in the front. The smart boards are on the side wall here, and they're recessed in. I was trying to visualize it in the rooms, but I think of the kids that are in front here that are turning around, will they have a good view of it? Because they're sitting almost on it, yeah.
The idea was, I mean, wasn't that what the teachers asked for? The
I don't
idea
know. That's-
that groups of kids could get together and work as teams and have a place to put their data and they would share it around the room?
Yeah, it was just the location of the smart board and where the students that sit right in front next to the smart board, they gotta turn around and look back.
As opposed to the smart
Yeah.
boards being at the end of the.
At the end. Now,
The long side.
it makes sense to me the way this is laid out, but again, I'm not a science teacher, so it was
I believe
mine.
having the smart boards on the side is what I was alluding to when you and I were together. I believe that the building principal and or the teachers who requested that, so instead of having a long classroom, it was a wider classroom and the kids were closer to it, but you're right,
Ah.
having the kids It's like us, when we turn around here, we're right on top of it, so we have to move aside a little bit. It's probably going to be a
happens in all of
similar
the classrooms, even like
situation.
elementary.
But that way, it wasn't like kids at a very far distance from the smart board, they'd all be
They're
closer
all closer to
as a
it.
group,
Yeah, all right.
is what the principal explained.
Yeah, so it's not my design, it was, the question is mostly, are the people that are using the rooms comfortable with what they're seeing is really good. I could sum it up there, and I should have much earlier.
Okay, anyone else had comments about the science labs? We're gonna move on. It is now 7:55. Next item on our agenda is public comment. Patricia, are there any public comments? Okay, we'll keep going. Next on our agenda is ex officio Board of Education member report. That is Ms. Vanessa Franklin.
The computers are an issue that we've been having, especially with tech and their hours. Their hours aren't.
Hours?
Yes. Their hours aren't during our lunch periods. There's 1 hour during our lunch period, but that's only one. And then at 8:30 to 9:30, I think it is, that's our first period to second period, which is interrupting our class time. So I was wondering if there was a way for them to move their hours for us to be able to access them during free lunch periods. And also, with the restitution or charges for the computers, some students say they turned them in, and now they're receiving a bill for $250 to buy a new computer when they're claiming they turned it in, and they're not gonna receive a new computer, which also kind of goes into the phones. How if we can't use outside technology, how are we supposed to access the internet when most of our stuff is now on the internet without the computers?
About $250. What is it, 200, do you guys know anything about the $250?
That's the cost of a Chromebook to replace it, but there should be, every Chromebook should be attached to a student by serial number, and when they come in or out, tracked. So they shouldn't have turned them in at all, unless there was an error with them, but then there should be a work order attached to that.
Oh yeah, I also heard
Computer.
that they were charging for broken computers.
Correct, correct.
$250?
Yeah.
If it's broken beyond repair, yes. If it has to be fully replaced,
If it
yes.
can what?
If it can't be replaced by fixing it in-house, then it has to be replaced wholly.
Don't they sometime expire?
That's,
stop
that,
working?
you're not charged for an expired computer.
So,
Or updates or anything like that. All that happens.
so if you're a responsible kid, but the computer falls, like I've dropped my phone or whatever, and it breaks, we're charging in a Title I district $250.
If it is completely destroyed.
When did y'all say that in your
yes.
report? I don't remember
Always.
hearing that.
That's on the
It's
user
policy.
agreement, and that's why all
Well,
of the
that's why I
computers,
signed
all the
mine.
computers
So
have
I'm not paying the
cases.
district $250 if there's a random accident. There are accidents that
I'm
happen.
just telling you what the
I
agreement
disagree,
says.
I disagree with that because let me just say, and I remember, there were students that were throwing their Chromebooks, and it was really bad. You
Oh,
had
that's not
students
good.
like
Using
throwing
it
their
like a
Chromebooks,
baseball
like
bat,
6
like-
different Chromebooks.
Walking
That's
down the hall
different.
like this.
Right. That's very, I do think carelessness and repetitive breaking is different than a true accident that does happen.
It does, but I think so, the way it is described to us, all the computers are outfitted with a case. The only exception is when a computer is on its, when it's going to be replaced at the end of the year, because it's becoming outdated. Everything has a case. If you take the case off, that is a choice that you are making, and that is a responsibility issue, that you're not protecting your computer as assigned. So you're assigned the case, you're assigned the computer, you're assigned the charger, and the user agreement is that you have a responsibility to that. Like, if you drop your phone,
That's why it's on my
if,
user agreement.
if you drop your phone,
I have insurance. So we
Right.
don't have insurance on our Chromebooks?
but you're still paying, you're still agreeing,
Do we have insurance on our Chromebooks? Does anybody know?
not her.
So-
I was just told that we were also supposed to get that, like with the broken. Yeah.
Huh?
We were also supposed to cover, not cover the insurance, but with the broken computers, we are supposed to just pay.
I don't agree with that. And did all the kids get brand new $250 computers?
Oh,
That is the, if you break a computer, you
No,
have to
no, no.
replace
If
the
you give
computer
me-
with a new computer.
If you give me a 3-year-old Chromebook, it's not worth $250, and if it breaks, I'm paying $250. That's not
Get
okay.
a new Chromebook.
So you're gonna give me a brand new one?
usually that, if they have
Do
to
you,
replace.
let's hear what Ms. Franklin has to say
I
at
do.
this point.
Mine, I had my case on, and the mouse broke, the mouse pad broke, and they didn't give me one of the new ones. I don't mean to sound slow, but they gave me like one of the old ones.
Right, correct.
With the screen just looked off. And my screen still looks off. It's like it has an orange hue to it.
So you got a refurbished,
Yes.
partially refurbished.
They're not going to pay for a new computer if the computer doesn't have to be completely replaced. So did you have to pay for the mouse pad not working? Right, because it was just a defect with the computer, so you were given a refurbished computer. If it had completely like exploded, then you would have needed a new computer, right?
But now, say-
So for like the minor things,
When did we agree to
every year.
that? I don't sign
Um, If they can fix it in-house, they're gonna try to fix it in-house, because the cost of a new computer is way more than doing the minor fixes.
But say, like she said, an accident happens, and now this computer breaks. Will I have to pay the $250 for a half refurbished computer?
Exactly.
If you would pay $250 for a brand new computer, like if the tech department has to buy a new computer, for you to have a new computer, you would pay the cost of a new computer. It's not the value of the computer that's broken, it's the cost of bringing in a new one. Now, if it wasn't your fault, and it glitched out, and the screen goes dark, or whatever like that, that's not a user error thing, that's not you doing damage to the computer, and so you would not be charged $250 to replace that computer, because that was not you damaging the computer. Does that make sense?
And the $250 doesn't necessarily guarantee that that student gets a new computer, but the district that owns 700, 800 computers, whatever that number is, gets a new one, and that student would get whatever one is available right now based on, so it's not each student, if a piece of inventory is broken, and it gets replaced, it doesn't mean that, it doesn't belong to a student, it belongs to the district. So all of our students have a computer. I have a computer that belongs to the district, so it's not mine.
If you use it like a baseball bat, then you have to
And
replace.
I would have to pay and my mouse pad doesn't work either,
No,
so.
What I would like to, thank you for that information. What I'm interested in finding out, if we can work with technology, because what I'd like to know is how many students, number of students who did not return, or the number of students who are being billed. I just need the kind of data around the laptops and
Yeah.
servicing and all
We'll
those
get that in
things.
the technology committee as well.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask, because you said if our stuff, we can't have our phones and our stuff is on the computer, and I can't afford $250, because I'm telling you right now, if it were my family, I'm not paying it, I don't have it. So how is my kid gonna do work? Do the kids get a loaner?
Oh, that was another point. Yes.
They should have a loaner in the moment that doesn't.
Can
But
I
it's
come
not-
in
We
at
don't know,
8
we don't
a.m.?
know, we don't know the procedure for this year.
7:55,
Right,
So
so
we're
that's
not
what
in
we
a
need to-
technology
for the
committee
day.
meeting, so at this point, I think we just need to
That's
take
fair.
the notes on what's
That's a
being
question.
said and
Yeah.
move to the next.
And then pull the data out of that.
Because, I mean, that's a lot of money. And we're a high Title I district, it's not like we're, just saying.
I will say those, from what was reported last year, since students were assigned a specific computer with the understanding that they were responsible for it, the number of damages dropped significantly.
That's great. I'm still not signing the accessible use form. I got that in the email. I was wondering what it was, but, all right, let's keep going. Do you have more in your report? I'm sorry to be so.
I'm
That's
adding
a
it
lot
all
of
to the
money.
tech agenda.
That's, I didn't realize it was that much money.
Behavior, something like that.
I'm so sorry. We just talked about this yesterday and Liz brought me to tell everyone about it. Anything else in your report?
That's really it.
No? Okay. How is senior year going?
Senior year's going great. We have club day coming up. I'm running 2.
Good.
BSU and Falconettes.
Okay.
I'm the president of BSU and then captain of Falconettes. Oh, and we had senior sunrise.
Yes.
Yes. That was a success. I think.
Dr. Chisholm came early in the
Yes, she
morning.
did.
I did.
And I feel bad for you guys because I was exhausted by
We
like
had the
11.
meeting.
And everyone was on time for first period class, because everyone was here.
I didn't have a first period, but that's just me.
Okay, so we are going to move on. Next is board president's report, and welcome back to the school year. Very exciting, everyone. This is our work session. Our next meeting is in 2 weeks, which will be our regular board meeting. We are trying some different things this year. We are going to make a space for student voice. So in our regular session, we are also going to be inviting a RJ Bailey student and a Woodlands Middle High School 7 through 11 student to make a public comment. We are also going to be trying to keep our work session meetings work and keep our regular meetings voting meetings. That is the goal. So we will try to keep on that. We met a lot this summer. We have a new superintendent who is communicating wonderfully with us, but we had four scheduled retreats that mostly turned into working special meetings. We have to do a better job because we clearly didn't finish our goals. We're still working with our superintendent on her goals, and that was supposed to be done over the summer. Part of that, I think all of us are responsible. We really didn't make availability on a weekend or during the weekday to kind of get a chunk of it done. We were doing like 3-hour blocks, which didn't work well at all for us. So we should just keep that in mind. We should keep in mind whether or not we want to do a fall retreat for several hours, whether we want to do a mid-year retreat, and if we're going to be available for that. Do you want to interrupt my report? Go ahead, Trustee Valley.
Because you're on the topic, and I'd just like to remind the board that at one of our retreats, we did agree to all hold the date of January 24th as a mid-year retreat, and that we would be considering in governance whether there's a fall one before that, but we're all supposed to be holding, so I'm just repeat what you just said.
Good idea.
January 24th as a retreat day, okay?
Don't schedule anything.
Okay, please, John.
Put more of an exclamation point on that one. Okay, thank you, Trustee Valley. And speaking of which, this summer, I did go to the NYSBA leadership summer training. Very, very informative. I made a whole document. I hope people accessed it. You can actually see who accesses your documents and when. On Google. Yeah, you can. You can. So I get hurt when I'm typing all this stuff and no one, I'm like, no one opened it. So there was a lot of great information there. Most importantly, everyone's concerned about finances, with changes federally with education finances and how it's going to affect, NYSED, New York State Education Department. There's a big push for student involvement, student voice. But it was also great to meet other board members from around the state, from all the way up North State. Listen, Long Island was there deep. There were multiple districts from Long Island, so we really have to get Westchester to go to more of these things. And then Trustee Vallon and I also went just last night, very tired, to the board leadership meeting for presidents and vice presidents through WSBA, which is Westchester Putnam School Board Association. That was great. They talked about leadership. They talked about support for the superintendent. They talked about bad behavior, like I just exhibited over the $250. I'm sorry, I didn't realize it was that much. And how to deal with behavior that happens in board meetings, how to deal with public comments that are, inappropriate or that are overly glossing because you're not supposed to take positive or negative comments, and how to keep your board, unified and working together. So it was nice to talk to a lot of local districts. I actually gave away our calendar and our communication protocol to another board member that was like, what do you guys do? And I was like, oh, I have a calendar here, look, it's in there. The first person you contact, second person, third person, etc. And I will say, every time we go to these type of things, I don't know if you'll agree, Trustee Vallon, I think we're kind of advanced. with what we do. I talked to board members that hadn't done evaluations, hadn't done superintendent evaluation. There's a local board who has a committee that puts board members onto the board, and then there's an understanding that everyone rotates, everyone does a certain amount of years. I don't want to out that board. Everyone does a certain amount of years. Everyone does a year in president, a year in vice president, and a year in president, and then they're off the board. Like, it's very strange. So there were a lot of different things that we discussed, but ultimately, how to have more of an effective board is important. We also have an awful lot of committees. I think I tried to cut those down earlier. No one wanted to cut committees, but I don't think other boards have as many committees as we do. So that's one thing that keeps coming up every time we go to these meetings. So I am done. Do you want to add anything, Trustee Valen?
No, yes. I will say an unofficial board goal continues to be that we will keep our meetings to hopefully no longer than 3 hours, because I am super jealous of most districts.
Yes, that's the other thing. Short meetings.
Regularly come in at that length or shorter. That's all.
Okay. Any questions, comments, concerns? No. Dr. Chisholm, Superintendent of Schools report.
Thank you. Quite a few things, but I'll keep it succinct. So the summer listening series has, for the most part, concluded. I have one last fireside chat that will take place at the High Point condos on Thursday, October 16th at 7 p.m. I do want to say a huge thank you to the Greenburgh Central community who came out, welcomed me to the community, and really for sharing their ideas for a greater Greenburgh. And this Saturday, you'll find me at the Fairview Farmers Market. I think PTA Council has a table there, so I will see you guys there in the afternoon. Last week, we welcomed faculty and staff back to school during 2 dynamic days of superintendent conference for professional development. That's where we unveiled our district's new tagline of Soaring Together for a Greater Greenburgh, as well as our district's 4 pillars of SOAR, S for student success, O for operational efficiency, A for attracting and retaining top talent, and R for responsive relationships. We also welcome back our beautiful students across the district. I was able to visit each school each morning during the first week of classes to greet students, parents, as well as faculty and staff. I was more concerned for our pre-K parents who had more tears than the babies did. I feel like I hugged a couple more pre-K parents. But I will also add that as I walked the buildings last week and even this week, the halls and the classrooms looked really great. I was able to visit some of the new teacher classrooms just to check in on them as well. Last week I was also able to join a couple of the high school class meetings for the 9th graders, the seniors, where I spoke to the freshman and senior classes and joined the seniors and the staff at the senior sunrise. I want to share that the students have already begun volunteering to serve on the Superintendent Advisory Council, as well as on the cell phone committee to help determine the process for implementing the newly adopted board policy. We will also be future facing here soon, working to codify our portrait of a graduate and what that looks like. That's a big thing right now with the state and the BOCES and all the districts across that, and how we do that in alignment and crosswalking it with our profile of an IB learner. So that's forthcoming. This past weekend, I was able to attend the PTA meet and greet at Lee F. Jackson. What a crowd. The fire department worked the grill. We had the right people on the grill. There was also a taekwondo demonstration, student demonstration, and the local police department and other local organizations that were there. And I paid my dues.
They got you.
They got me. That's okay. It has certainly been a very busy first couple of weeks of school. Forthcoming, we will continue to provide updates and transparency around construction that continues to happen on and around our campus. Of course, student and staff safety is paramount. And then finally, I just wanted to revisit this. If you're interested, anyone out in the community or in the school community here, in the establishment of the Alumni Association, please, please, please complete the alumni survey that is found at the bottom of page 2 and the Summer Falconer, or please email Ms. Krause, my administrative assistant, and provide her your name so we know how to reach you. And that is all I have at this
Thank you so much, Dr. Chisholm. Is there any questions, comments, concerns? You just reminded me of the Alumni Association. I met a board member of this district that's an alum.
Okay.
She came up to us at the end to talk about how great the district was. And that she always says, I don't know why I didn't move back to Greenburgh to raise my kids there because I had such a good, experience. So I thought that was great.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, now next on our agenda are committees. We're gonna do this a little different as well. We're gonna go through, if you look on the second page here, committees are listed in alphabetical order. First and foremost, audit committee. So who are members of the audit committee this year? Do you already have a chair? No? Okay. Is there already, I know you don't.
Yes, did we
Yes, we
elect?
did.
We did elect,
Yes, we
sorry.
did.
Yes, we did.
Right.
Are you chair again?
I am chair.
Okay. I know you don't.
We did
need-
have a meeting on July 25th.
Okay.
Audits minutes are pending, and we're waiting I haven't checked my email. We're waiting to find out when the draft report for the external audit is going to be completed, and we'll meet before the end of this month. The external audit report is planned to be presented at the October work session, leadership team, so that we can submit it on time to NICED.
Okay.
Internal audit is ongoing. We hope to have that completed by the end of, I think the new date is the end of October, so TBD. But because we're waiting on the reports, we don't yet know our meeting date, our next meeting date. Once we hear from the auditors, we'll set that date.
Okay. Next oh, you don't have it yet. Unknown date. CEC committee. Who's on that committee this year?
I'm on it.
1, 2, 3.
You're on it too.
Yep, did you forget? So we've been trying to set a date. So Trustee Warner, Mayors, and Sempalayo. Trustee Warner, you were the chair last year, so you want to talk about the date, next date?
The 22nd is moved to try and accommodate people's schedules, 5 p.m. And in order that it not be sundown, because we're just right up against Rosh Hashanah. And, yeah.
And where's the meeting?
Leah Jackson.
Okay. Education committee, who's on that committee? Oh, that's a committee of the board. Last year, you were chair, Trustee Valen. Do you have dates?
Yes, I met with Dr. Njoku, I think over the summer, I don't remember when, but we did sit down and although we've not chosen a chair for this year yet, we did put some dates on the district calendar as published. The first meeting of the year will be October 30th at 7 p.m. here in the Woodlands Middle High School Innovation Lab.
Next, we have Finance Committee. Who's on that committee? 1, 2, is Trustee Nance. Okay.
So,
Is there a chair yet?
as the outgoing chair, we have not yet had a meeting, so we've not yet elected a chair. I have been in communication with Ms. Merrill. We are emailing around to figure out the date to meet. It will most likely be a Friday during the day, but as soon as we get the date pegged down, we will notice it on the district calendar.
Okay.
I can also summarize that the first meeting will most likely be looking at policies around purchasing and procurement.
Okay. And the next item is, Governance and Policy Committee.
Skip
Sorry,
facilities.
I skipped right over facilities. I am so sorry. Past Chair. Past Chair Warner, who's on that committee? Trustee Warner, myself,
I am.
and
You
Trustee
are,
Valen.
Yes.
Okay, when's the next meeting?
And the next meeting is at 9/11. It's a Thursday at 6:30 p.m. right here. We also had a walkthrough prior to the opening of school, and well, it's the place has a lot of ongoing construction projects, but the insides of the schools are pretty decent shape.
Okay. I wasn't too happy looking at the science labs. You know that the paint is like peeled off on all the.
Some of the cupboards are missing doors.
I know, it looks terrible.
And a lot of the faucets, if you turn them on, they don't work. Yes, yes.
Good thing we have a project.
Good thing we have a project that fixes
I
that.
was like, wow.
Okay.
Okay, governance and policy. Past Chair Valland.
And
You're
also
still-
trustee Long and trustee Mears.
I
I'm in communication with the committee to try to set a date. I'm waiting to hear from one person
I
in
know, I'm
particular.
so sorry.
But we're looking hopefully in October 6th because September is chock-a-block full.
Yes.
Once the date and time are nailed down, it will be noticed on the district calendar.
Okay, thank you. Wellness Committee, who's on wellness this year?
Me and Adonia
Trustee Mans and Jacobson, and your past chair?
is Julie.
No chair,
I'm the
okay.
past chair.
Do you have any dates yet?
There are no dates yet.
There are is a date.
Oh, there is a date.
Yeah.
I am holding the minutes from the last meeting of last year.
Okay.
And I will also guide you, because we had several student and community volunteers from the various events where we had tables, so.
Yes,
Can
and
we get-
hopefully, I heard from Mr. McCoy, I'm not sure if that date works for you, Dr. Njoku, but I did touch base with some last year committee members that this date works.
It would
So
be Ms. Merrill.
Yeah, who's the liaison?
Not,
wellness.
not based on the chart, it's Dr. Njoku and Mr. McCoy.
For the wellness committee.
Correct.
The
Right,
policy,
that's what it says
Policy says
currently.
it's
the policy.
the assistant superintendent of business because it has to manage,
Or her
years ago, it was the,
designee.
yeah. It was a food
So at the
service.
time, that's what the form says, so that's what I went based on. But it's for September 26th, from 12:30 to 2:30 here,
26, 12,
to 2:30. Specifics where and Woodlands, I'm not sure.
30. Is it possible, not just this committee, I guess you have student members, but for all the committees to look into including students and opening that up?
I think the tricky part of including students, which I think is great, and our wellness committee student was super impactful. I think to make sure that they can attend, then you have meetings during the day, and then you have other people that can't attend. And so then you're trying
They can
to,
come at night.
yeah, but I'm just, it's a trickier balancing act to have students attend after hours.
Invite them.
They have a lot of events
Yeah.
after hours, so
They do.
the students
And
were
more
preferable to
transportation.
the daytime meetings, so.
So,
yeah.
Let's look at
It's a balance.
possibilities, not barriers. So if you open it up to students, some may choose to come. It doesn't have to be always the same students. Some students may be very interested in speaking up about facilities, for example. They're directly affected. Yes.
So if we could just have Ms. Franklin to tell the students that all public members are invited to attend any committee meeting. And are always noticed on the district calendar.
You already have
people? So.
Well, not people that like wanted to, they were asking about it.
Right. Yeah, it is good. And, you
Sure.
know,
Student
especially the
government.
high school students, especially seniors, they all look for stuff on their resumes too, to be involved in certain committees and to come once a month. They might make themselves available. Okay, keep going. Safety committee. I know I'm on that this year. You on with me?
And-
Who's that third person?
Trustee Mans.
Oh, okay. Oh, we got the same committee? Ooh, so good. We do not have a date. In the past, the assistant superintendent for business was our liaison, but I don't know if that's still, are you guys still doing that? Okay. So we gotta try to get some dates.
We have to get some.
Yeah, okay, I'll work on that. Yes?
I'm just checking the wellness policy. It does not designate the ASB. It says superintendent or their designee. So, just look at the policy. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay.
But I
It's a
designated.
fun
I designated.
I'll be designated.
And last but definitely not least, the technology committee. It's gonna revisit that 250.
Same crew as last year.
Same crew as last year. Who
Same
was
crew.
that? Trustee.
Three of us.
Oh, the three of you in the corner there?
Yes,
Okay.
that quarter.
Tech.
And the meeting is September 18th from 1 to 3 here, probably a little later.
Oh, one more thing I learned last night. I don't know if you had heard this, Trustee Ballin, that we should, as president, vice president, have other trustees chair these committees. Did you hear that part?
Yes.
You don't want to give up your committees?
No.
I heard we ought to give a lot
Yes,
of
at some
leadership
point.
opportunities and encouragement to the other trustees. Okay.
I think that's for trustees that aren't taking leadership roles in general.
Mm.
But I think our group is very good at taking
There are a lot of committees. Are there any liaison reports? ECP is not here today, but we do have trustee Valen at Woodlands Middle High School. We'll come around to you next. Woodlands Middle High School.
It's very, very short because most of my report was shared by me earlier or by Ms. Franklin. So the only thing that wasn't shared out that Mr. Smith mentioned was, and I observed this and I thought it was great, on the last Friday of the first week of school, they had basically survivor snacks for the staff to celebrate them and thank them for getting through the first week of school after a long break over summer. And I thought that was a fantastic way to end the first week of school. So kudos. That's it. Everything else we heard already.
Alrighty. Leah Jackson.
So the first meeting of the Lee F. Jackson PTA is this Thursday at the same time as the facilities committee
Yes.
meeting. So I know of 3 board members who are busy, and the question is, are there anybody else, there are 4 board members who are busy. So I'm wondering if anybody else would be willing to go to that meeting, since the PTA at the meet and greet, right, they had the taekwondo and all that stuff that you already described, said, hey, please send a board member to our first meeting. Why?
When is the meeting?
Thursday.
What time?
6:30.
Can I get back to you?
In person or virtual?
As far as I don't know if it's virtual. I know it's in person.
So you have trustee Jacobson and Sebalayo considering it, or?
I need to check this.
I have to make sure I could make it. There's something on my calendar, but I have to make sure it's gonna be done. So it's a possibility.
So maybe from both of you. Okay. Thank you.
Trustee Valen.
No, David went through it first. There's also Westchester Putnam School Board Association advocacy meeting on Thursday that I will need to miss. Thursday from 7 to 8:30. The advocacy is surrounding NISBA resolutions, and really is the kickoff advocacy meeting for the year to set the tone. I was also going to ask for a volunteer to attend in my place since I'll be at the facilities committee. So I'll just say it out loud, and if we can't go, we can't go. Okay, that's
Okay. Any other liaison reports? Trustee Jacobson.
Just a heads up that RJ Bailey has a new assistant principal, and also a new newsletter that has
Yes.
come out, which is very exciting. It had dates for the school, dates for the district, information about SEL, summer reading, and a PTA section for the stuff that they are working on as well. There's also an apparel sale going on if you want some Bailey gear.
I love the PTA collaboration.
And yes, and picture day is the 25th.
I thought it was the 22nd. 25th?
25th
oh,
September.
September, right?
Just-
Well,
it's
the
like-
day after we get back from Rosh Hashanah,
It's soon,
so we hopefully I'll remember. Hopefully. Oh, and back to school night is September 18th.
so does that match up with the calendar? Trustee Warner, I'm just curious. September
Yes.
25th. Okay.
Actually, I wrote it down. Yes.
Super. Okay.
What was your Krista? Okay. No other reports? Can I get a motion? Yes, sorry, trustee Long.
Highview Back
Yes.
to School is tomorrow night.
Okay.
And apparently, the beginning of the school year was very successful, so.
I will say I like an early back to school because, as a parent, I did not get contacted by all of my teachers, and my particular school, where I got some teacher feedback, I reached out to all the teachers because I got some teachers that did say hello, which I thought was great and helpful, and I told them a little bit about my child. I reached out to all the teachers, and I was surprised that some of them said, oh, well, we'll meet and we'll talk at back to school night. I'm like, but back to school night isn't until 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks in, but okay. So I love an early back to school night, because then you can meet the teacher, you can tell them, share any bit of information, et cetera. And get
And they've rolled a PTA meeting into it and a PTA presentation also, so.
awesome. Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns? If not, can I get a motion, please?
I move that we adjourn to executive session to discuss collective bargaining negotiations, the employment history of particular persons, personnel matters or employee records, and matters deemed confidential by state or federal law, including seeking advice from counsel.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. It's 8:30. We're going in exec session. Thank you. Gotta be tired. I don't know where I am.
You're at a board meeting.
Did I say where I am?
Yeah.
So funny. Are we live? Let me know when we're ready to go. Okay, we're back. And it's 10:52 p.m.
No.
Item E1, work session approvals, personnel instructional items. Can I get a motion, please?
I move that we approve the instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Item E2, personnel non-instructional items.
I move that we approve the non-instructional personnel items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. E3, board action items. Can I get a motion, please?
I move that we approve the board action items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. E4, pupil personnel services items.
I move that we approve the pupil personnel services items presented to the board for approval this evening.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Next, we have J1, located on page 15 to 22. Review agenda items for next meeting. J1, minutes. J2, treasurer report. J3, warrant report. J4, technology department surplus. J5, donation from Renew Milburn. J6, Southern Westchester BOCES.
No.
Yes.
Okay, so I took a quick look at the attachment for J6, and I do have a question, Dr. Chisholm, if it could be answered before the next meeting.
Okay.
I'm looking at the breakdown of the BOCES budget, and I see the two items, secondary day AM program, secondary day PM program, and it lists the quantity, which I assume is the number of students, but that number of students seems really high to me.
Okay.
So if we could get detail on that,
Okay.
because that is something that's billed, you know, quantity
By
times
person.
unit cost. So I just,
No.
this is what I'm looking at.
That's
Okay.
really high.
Right, so that just doesn't strike me as reasonable.
They're only, they go in 11th grade?
11th and 12th.
Yeah. I don't even
Even
have that.
10th graders, I think, but it just seems off, and I don't know if that includes non-public students, I honestly don't know.
Right.
So just some detail on that would be great,
Okay.
thank you.
It does that.
101.401 falls around. Okay.
Yeah, it's always high.
Thank you.
I'm glad you found that.
And just so you know.
Okay, next item on our agenda, J7, amendment. J8, an amendment. J9, an amendment for secondary class advisors. J10, appointments for co-curricular activities. J11, appointment for co-curricular activities. J12, appointments for extracurricular activities. J13, Woodlands Middle High School math leavement replacement pending. J14, curriculum contract.
Yep.
What's your question?
I think I've mentioned this before, I just want to reiterate or remind you that I'd like to know if we're still posting this position in addition to having this
No,
contractor?
no.
Okay.
We did not find a successful candidate to fill the second position.
And we're
So
not going to repost, or will we consider reposting in January?
we will probably consider reposting in January for the
Or
upcoming
spring?
school year.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Closing items. Is there any new business? Hearing none, can I get an adjournment?
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries 10:56 PM. Good pass. Have a